Welcome, Facebook live stream viewers, and welcome to Change It Up Radio. I'm Paula Shaw, and we are recording on Zoom these days because we cannot record in the studio. So you are joining me for the recording of this week's Change It Up radio show. So we will not actually be going to commercial or doing those things that we tend to do when we're in the studio, but we will be stopping at 11 minutes, 30 seconds so that we can, when the show is produced, put it all together. So you're backstage, so to speak, with how we are recording. And my guest today is going to be Tom Paladino, who's doing amazing things with Scalar Energy. So please stay with us. We are about to start Change It Up Radio. Okay, here we go. Welcome to Change It Up Radio here with Paula Shaw. I'm delighted to have you with me today. And so much to talk about. Life is a little crazy right now, right? And so I'm thrilled that you're here with me on Change It Up Radio. Remember, our show is about change, so it couldn't be more timely now, right? Because everybody's life is going through change. And our mission here at Change It Up Radio is to either provide information to help you deal with change more productively and in a way that's more helpful in what you're going through in your everyday life. Or another goal of this show is to spotlight change makers, people who are trying to make the world a better place. And so today, I think we're going to be working on both of those goals with our guest, Tom Paladino, who has created a scalar energy modality that can eradicate certain microorganisms and pathogens and viruses and bacteria. So Tom has some fascinating things to tell us about. We're going to be talking about scalar energy and its magical ability to do some amazing things to help the health of all of us. So before we bring Tom on, I wanted to talk a little bit about some of the things that we can be doing for ourselves to enhance our immune systems right now. We all want to be as healthy and strong as we can be. We all know that we're dealing with times that are challenging, we're staying in, where a lot of us are not working. There is a lot of stuff happening in the world today that can create fear. And one of the things I want to talk about right now is doing whatever you can to eliminate any fearful thinking from your life. And there's a good reason why I'm saying that. I also do a podcast called Higher Energy for the Association for Comprehensive Energy Psychology. And I recently interviewed Bruce Lipton, who is an internationally known cell biologist and author, a scientist, has done some incredible work and written the book, The Biology of Belief. We're working on getting Bruce as a guest on this show in the future. But one of the things Bruce said that I think is very important for everybody to know, one of the reasons that we have had the spread and the contagiousness of this virus that we're now dealing with is two things. First of all, it's novel. It's new. We haven't seen this one before, so nobody has prior immunity. But the other huge thing he said that is contributing to the spread is fear. And let me explain why. Fear and the chemicals it produces in the body, fear is so powerful in shutting down the immune system that Bruce was telling us that when a doctor is doing a transplant surgery, transplanting an organ, they actually give the patient injections of the chemicals that are normally produced by fear because they want to shut down the immune system so it won't reject the transplant organ. That's how powerful fear is. That what it produces in the body does shut down the immune system. So what is that saying to us as humans on this planet right now? What it's saying, in my opinion, is we need to be as active as we can be in creating joyful, life-enhancing thoughts in our minds. Now, am I saying we should ignore reality? No, I'm not saying that. It's pretty hard to do that anyway, because we've all been impacted by the changes that are going on. But what I am saying is, it really is a time where we have to kind of make our own kind of music, right? We've got to find our own joy. So I want to challenge you all to spend a little time thinking today about what lights you up. What is it that takes you from a place of worry or fear to a place of aliveness and peace and joy? Because that's where you want to be spending your time these days. That's going to enhance your immune system in such a powerful way. So one of the things right now that's really increasing my joy is there's a new puppy in my neighborhood here. And he comes out every morning right outside my window. And he is a chocolate doodle. So you can imagine this little guy that is so cute. And his name's Walker. Well, I can't even talk about Walker right now without feeling joy, without a smile, because he's just the most adorable little thing. And when he prances, it just lights up my heart. So that's what I'm talking about. Who are the people? What are the places? Who are the beings in your life that light you up? I know for a lot of you, it is your dogs, because dogs, let's face it, they never tick us off. Well, I mean, sometimes things are a little inconvenient. I had a dog who sometimes had intestinal issues. So you know what that can mean. But mostly they're such a great source of unconditional love and just adorable behavior, and they light us up. So dogs are, even if you need to go online and just look at pictures of dogs, if you don't have one of your own, that can be a source of joy. Babies, pretty hard to look at a baby or watch a video of a baby without smiling and feeling some joy. Perhaps thinking about your favorite vacation or some place that you love to go to where you're totally at ease, totally in a state of joy and relaxation. Those are powerful things for actually shifting your energy. I'm also very big on prayer, meditation. Certainly that's going to shift your energy very rapidly. Listening to beautiful music can be great for shifting you into a more positive place. And I'm also very big on music that makes you want to dance and sing. Singing and dancing, moving your body, feeling the good feelings while you're working with that music can do so much to help to shift you into a more positive place. So what I'm saying is we need to be proactive these days, guys, because there's a lot of bad news out there. There's a lot of people that are crying doom and gloom. And we don't want to get caught up in that. In fact, one of the things I'm doing every day at 11:30, I bring 11 minutes and 30 seconds of good news. I live stream it on my Facebook page, the Paula Shaw page. And I'm doing that because there's so much that's to the contrary out there. One day I just went, wow, Somebody needs to be sharing some good news. Somebody needs to be helping people be more proactive and find out what's the great stuff that's going on out there in the world. And believe me, there is a lot of it. People are stepping up and helping people in ways that are amazing. Companies, a company that once produced baseball uniforms is now producing gowns and masks for the nurses and doctors and the first responders. People are stepping up in so many amazing ways, and our planet is healing. The pollution levels in Delhi are down 44%. In Punjabi, India, they're seeing the Himalayas for the first time. The air is so clear. Dolphins are swimming in the canals of Venice. There are beautiful things that are going on at this time, guys. There's much to be joyful about, not just fearful about. So actively go online. You know what I do? I go online and I Google uplifting stories from the pandemic or good things happening, at this time. And you would be amazed how much there is. In fact, there are many celebrities who are stepping up. They're doing online concerts. They're doing, I saw a reading the other day, like a table reading from Grace and Frankie. Different shows are stepping up to provide some entertainment and connection for us. And it's wonderful. So there are many ways you can help yourself to shift your own energy right now at this time in your lives. And again, I can't stress highly enough, be proactive about that. And if you're having some trouble thinking of anything that's really good going on, join me at 11:30. We call it 11:30 for 11:30 because my segments here on this radio show are 11 minutes, 30 seconds. So since my brain was already geared in that direction, we just went with 11:30 at 11:30, highlights from the Silver Linings Playbook. All right, and speaking of silver linings, after this break, I'm going to be bringing on my guest, Tom Paladino, who's doing some amazing work with Scalar Energy that you really want to know about. So please stay with us. We will be right back.
Okay, good job.
All right, and I'm going to do your bio now, Tom, and then we'll bring you on. Okay, here we go. Oh, I'm already recording, good. Welcome back to Change It Up Energy. I'm sorry, we'll have Todd edit that out. Forgot the name of my radio show. All right, here we go. Welcome back to Change It Up Radio, here with Paula Shaw. If you would like to learn more about Change It Up Radio, maybe how to be a guest or a sponsor of this show, or you'd like to hear past shows, and we've got some gems, please go to changeitupradio.com. And if you want to learn more about me, my work with clients, my work as a speaker, any of that information, please go to paulashaw.com and you will find all of that energy there or that information there. I'm focused on energy today, folks, and I guess I might as well just roll with that because my next guest is a man who works with Scalar Energy. So let me tell you a little bit about Tom Paladino. He is a scalar energy researcher based in Florida, and he's created a cutting-edge healing session using scalar energy instruments. And scalar energy is the fundamental instructive life force energy, which originates actually from the sun and stars. He does a remote session that is fast, harmless, painless, and he has had some fascinating results that we will be talking with him about right now. So Tom Paladino, please join us.
Hi, Paula. Great to be here.
Tom, I'm so glad to have you here. And I need to read a little disclaimer just before we get started with our talk, so I don't forget. Scalarlight.com is for informational purposes only and is not intended as a substitute for advice from your physician or other healthcare professional. All products, claims, and testimonials made about specific products or services on or through this site have not been evaluated by the United States Food and Drug Administration and are not approved to diagnose, treat, cure, or prevent disease. You should not use the information on this site for diagnosis or treatment of any health problem, nor do we encourage that you discontinue any medication or advice by your physician. Any attempt to diagnose and treat illness should come under the direction of your healthcare provider. All righty. So, Tom, I think probably we better start at the very beginning. Would you explain to our listeners just exactly what is scalar energy? I always thought the only thing in the universe was electromagnetic energy, but now there's scalar energy. So tell us about that.
That's a good point. There are two energies. There is electromagnetic energy. We all recognize electricity. There's another energy called scalar light, and very simply stated, that's sunlight or starlight. And if I had my druthers, and I wish everybody would, we would only be working with scalar light, which is pure energy. It has a divine character. It leaves no carbon footprint, and it's essentially free energy. It's from the stars. So I see a big future in energy generation by way of scalar light as opposed to the electromagnetic grid that we're on right now.
And why aren't we using it? Is electromagnetic energy more available, or did we just see it first or figure it out first? What's happening there?
I think we first understood that electricity could be harnessed, but we're now realizing that scalar light can be likewise harnessed, and we're now realizing that scalar light has many more benefits than as compared to that of electricity. So the day is coming that scalar energy will supplant, if you will, the electromagnetic grid. And this is a new technology, scalar light technology, that's going to take the world by surprise.
Wow. I know I heard James Oshman, a famous researcher, saying at a conference about a year and a half ago, he said, watch for scalar energy. It is the energy of the future. So obviously there are many people out there who are in the know, as you are, who understand scalar energy and what it can do. Oh my goodness, we're getting some strange sound here. Let's see if that'll go away. You know, now that we're all dependent on technology, I'll try just turning off my phone. Okay, there we go. Now that we're all dependent on technology, there are all these things that come up, right? That you just can't predict. So let's go back to where we were. So Tom, scalar energy is actually, in the way that you use it, it's working with the human biofield. Is that correct?
That's correct. So let me just put this into motion. I work with scalar light instrument. I have unique instruments. They're custom built. And these instruments have a direct interface with our biofield. So they are light therapy instruments, and they enhance our well-being.
Okay, beautiful. Very well put. And if I understand correctly, for a person to receive a scalar energy session, they don't have to be in the room with you.
That's right. Now that's one of the unique characteristics with the scalar light instrument. Scalar light is everywhere. It's sunlight or starlight. So I am able to access this dimension, this scalar dimension, anywhere. And in so doing, all I need in order to send energy to a person or an object is a photograph of that person or an object. So if you will, if I take a photograph of a person and place it inside my instrument will recognize their scalar light signature, will recognize their scalar light informational field. and I can send energy to that person by virtue of the fact that I have their photograph as an identification. It's fascinating.
So I love this idea that a photograph is your identification.
Yes.
And I love an analogy you use of a cell phone, because I think a lot of people, you know, it's easier for people to be skeptical than it is to go, whoa, that sounds really cool. I want that experience. So because for your scalar energy session, a person needs to send you a picture, correct?
That's correct, yes.
And what does that picture do for you? What does it do for your instruments?
But the photograph represents a person's biofield. And when I place a person's photograph inside the instrument, then the instrument can send energy to that biofield, to that person. So if you will, everybody has a unique signature, a
Mhm.
scalar signature, which is as unique as your fingerprint or your DNA. So working within this quantum universe, this holographic universe, it's incredible because you can access anybody by way of a photograph. You do not have to be physically present. Well, that's one of the wonderments, if you will, of scalar energy.
That it can find that person. And I love the analogy that you use sometimes, Tom, about the cell phone. So share that with people.
Oh,
The way you find somebody
sure.
on the other side of the world.
Yeah. If somebody wanted to find me, they could dial my cell phone number. Okay. And that's established. Well, in a similar vein, if we want to find a person, we can do that not by way of their cell phone, but by way of a photograph. So if a cell phone represents your a signal to your per se cell phone, a photograph represents your biofield, and we can send a signal to you by virtue of the fact that we have your photographic signature.
Mhm.
So this is how a quantum universe, a holographic universe works, that you can dial into, so to speak, you can target, find somebody by way of their photograph.
That's so interesting. And of course, we're doing this for good reasons, because this instrumentation that you've created and the scalar energy session can actually eradicate certain pathogens, correct?
Yes, that's correct. That's one of the signals that we can send, correct.
So this signal goes, so let's say I'm receiving the signal. What happens to the pathogens in me that we're trying to eradicate?
Well, I'm going to use two fingers, and these two fingers represent a chemical bond.
Okay.
I have found that scalar energy is responsible for that chemical bond, whether it's, say, a covalent bond or a hydrogen bond. And if you will, a scalar signal can negate that chemical bond. And what happens? A physical form falls apart. So if scalar energy can assemble, we can also disassemble by negating a chemical bond. That's the control that I have with the scalar light instrument.
Interesting, interesting. So, and as we've said before, it's almost like it pulls the scaffolding on the building and
Yes,
the building implodes.
yes, thank you.
And that's what happens with different viruses and pathogens that that you're aiming the scalar light at.
Yes, that's correct. That's
And
correct.
and you have done this for how long, Tom?
In practice for about 25 years now, I've perfected this modality.
And it has provided many people. I mean, do we have any idea how many people have received scalar energy sessions?
Uh, I want to say millions because I am working with people in India and Africa, and sometimes they send me photographs of entire villages.
Mm.
So we have a long-standing track record. This is nothing new to us, and we are becoming, if you will, world famous.
And do we have proof that anybody has received any real healing from these
Yes,
sessions?
yes, yes, and that's the key. A lot of people want proof, and I demand that myself. So we have many diagnostic tests. People will submit to us diagnostic tests from clinics around the world. And those diagnostic tests prove that we've been able to remove, disintegrate, fragment viruses, bacteria, fungi, etc. And all of that is quite promising, because those diagnostic tests, again, from clinics around the world, tell the story as to how effective this therapy is.
Yes, it is very promising. And when we come back from this break, let's talk about just that, because that's pretty huge that you have been able to create those kind of results for people. So we will be right back. All right. Okay, Tom. So let's, I think we're just going to come right on back and talk about what we were just talking about there with the different situation or different results people have experienced. And let's start off with giving your website too.
Okay.
All right, here we go.
Yep.
Welcome back to Change It Up Radio here with Paula Shaw. And today I am interviewing Tom Paladino, who is an expert with Scalar Energy and who is doing some amazing work with Scalar Energy sessions. So, Tom, we were just talking about people all over the world who have received Scalar Energy sessions from you. And Scalar Energy has been shown to be able to have the ability to eradicate pathogens, bacteria, fungi, viruses, and some other little teeny things that you knew that I don't know, enos of some sort. What are they? The other little
Protozoan.
Protozoan, yes. So these microorganisms, many of which can be very problematic in the human body, can cause things like HIV, Ebola, some pretty awful conditions. Herpes is one that many of us are familiar with. Right. The scalar energy signal that you're able to send can go in and destroy the scaffolding, so to speak, right, of those viruses and eradicate them. So they no longer are able, viruses, bacteria, all that, no longer able to impact the human body in a negative way. Is that correct?
Precisely. Well put. Precisely. Yes.
Okay. So that's pretty amazing. And I'm sure of a lot of interest to people right now. And some people, I'm sure, are going, well, is there any proof of that? And I was just asking you that. And I want to show at least our Facebook viewers, you can see these kinds of results are on Tom's website. And Tom, what is the website again?
The website is scalarlight.com.
Scalarlight.com. This is somebody who had Epstein-Barr, who had it eradicated by a scalar energy session. Here's somebody with Lyme disease. The results are all there. I'm sure you can't really read these so well on the Facebook screen, but I just wanted to give you an idea. And again, PCR test results that we want to talk about in just a minute. This was somebody who had herpes and then no longer tested positive for herpes after a treatment like this. Or I'm sorry, I don't want to use the word treatment. I want to say a session with this. So Tom, let's explain to everybody about a PCR test, because some of the ways that you're finding that people are actually experiencing a shift, physiological shift, are through PCR tests. So let's explain to everybody what they are.
Sure. A PCR test stands for polymerase chain reaction test. And very simply, a PCR test will look for some genomic copy of, say, the herpes virus or the Epstein-Barr virus or the HIV virus. So it's a test that's conducted by a laboratory, and it's rather common now, but you have to go to a laboratory in order to have this conducted. Mm-hmm. And the kit and caboodle is this: a PCR test will tell you whether you have the presence or absence of a germ, of a microbe in your body. It's very accurate. Actually, they use this type of testing, PCR testing, in a court of law that will prove whether a DNA sample belongs to one person or not.
Ah, so it's clearly an approved, commonly used test.
Right.
And it's a blood test. I don't know if we have said that.
Yeah.
So I want to share my story because Tom Paladino has been a very, very important and special person in my life. Because when he first came on board, oh my goodness, well over a year ago now, as a sponsor of this radio show, Tom, I wanted to do my due diligence and check him out because he was a nice man, but I wanted to be sure he was the real deal. So I not only scoured the website and did a little research on all that, I said to Tom, well, what if I'm a test case? So, when I was in my 20s, I kissed a guy with a cold sore, which was not a smart move. And from that moment on, I started getting nightmare cold sores that would just erupt and be 2 weeks of misery. So I submitted my picture to Tom, and he administered a scalar energy session on my herpes virus. And I think do you do the treatment, Tom? I can't remember now. Is it, or the actual administering of the scalar light, the session, does that happen more than once, or was it just once?
In your case, or in anybody's case, I should say, it only takes one session to break down the chemical bonds, the molecular bonds of a virus. But I work with people on a daily basis because some people become reinfected with, say, bacteria. But to speak poignantly, only one session is needed to compromise and break down the molecular scaffolding, if you will, of a pathogen.
That is huge. I mean, that's really huge because that means that scalar energy is capable of doing kind of miraculous things. And I am an example because after that session, I went and had the PCR blood test to detect or not detect whether or not HSV1 was still in my system. And I don't know if you all can see this, but right here it says HSV1 not detected. Not detected. And I guarantee you, it was very much there prior to that for years of misery. And so I am thrilled to report that my experience with a scalar energy session was like miraculous, incredible. And I know from going to your website, which is scalarlight.com, right?
Yes.
Scalarlight.com, that I'm not the only person who has had some amazing results with scalar energy. And, Tom, I think back to, like, who was the first guy that said the world wasn't flat? And what was it, Columbus or it was somebody anyway, one of those sailors way back when, and everybody thought he was crazy. And everybody thought Galileo was crazy. When new things come to the planet, it's so much easier for people to be skeptical rather than say, wow, look at the potential of this. I want to know more. And one of the reasons I've invited you to be my guest today is because I am hoping that people are open to maybe going, wow, this has amazing potential. I want to know more, because it is possible for people, like if I had met you 30 years ago, when I think of all the weeks of angst and embarrassment, and by the way, the heavy duty drugs, antiviral drugs that so many people take to try to avoid cold sores, outbreaks of everything else they suffer from, life could have been so very different. And so I feel it's important to give you a platform to let you share with people that this is possible.
Yes, it is possible. And I thank you for that, Paula. You've always been a open-minded about my research. So what Paula is saying is that after years, 30 years of being infected with the herpes virus, she now is symptom-free. She doesn't have these large eruptions, these blisters on her lips anymore. There's no more discomfort. Correct me if I'm wrong. You're not on any antiviral drug right now?
Not at
No?
all. Not at all.
Okay, so all of that speaks to the point that scalar light can once again break down the chemical bond of a virus, a bacterium. And once you break down those molecular bonds, the microbe, the microorganism falls apart. It ceases to exist. And from the test result that Paula showed us, there is no viral load. Why? Herpes doesn't exist. You can't have a viral load if the herpes virus no longer exists. So we would like the audience and those around the world to start really taking a close look at the benefits of scalar light. You know, why suffer? Why experience this discomfort when it's so simple? You just submit a photograph, and with that photograph, we can send this healing energy.
And that in itself just boggles my mind. I mean, remember the days, well, you're not as old as I am, Tom, but I remember when Dick Tracy was in the comics and he had this two-way radio on his wrist. He could communicate with people. And today, I mean, back then we all thought, whoa, that's a crazy idea, but wouldn't that be cool? And now we have watches that are little computers that are on our wrists, that can be telephones, that can be computers. You know, and I really believe the day will come when you feel ill and you will just call your doctor or call someone like you and say, I'm sending in my photo. Please give me a session with Scalar Energy. I need to be cleared of, you know, whatever it is. And when we come back from this little break, Tom, let's talk a little bit about how we administer a scalar session, you know, or can people just ask for a specific session, or what they do, and then let's tell everybody what you're offering totally free. So we'll do that in just a moment when we come back. All righty. Oops. Okay, Tom, I'm going to grab a sip of water too, and when you're ready to go.
You're doing a great job. Is this our last segment now?
Yes, it is.
And we're looking how many minutes?
11 minutes and 30 seconds.
Wow, you know your stuff. Okay.
Well, that's how we do it. Oh my goodness. And this is actually, you know what I'm going to do? I'm going to take 1 minute here. Live stream viewers, give me 1 minute. Well, you know what? No, we're already live streaming on my page. I'm just going to say to anybody watching who's waiting, because normally at this time I'm doing 11:30 at 11:30, the good news. Well, the good news today is going to be this segment of our show, Tom, because you've got some good news to share with people. So here we go. Welcome back to Change It Up Radio. So happy to have you here today. I am talking to Tom Paladino about scalar light, scalar energy, which has the ability to do some amazing things. It has the ability to kind of deconstruct, if you will, pull the scaffolding on pathogens, bacteria, viruses, the things that haunt us and give us so many problems in life. Tom is bringing us what I kind of think of as, it's almost like information from the future, only it's here today. And this is something, if you're just joining us, this is something that was originally researched by Tesla. People have known something about scalar energy for quite some time, but we're blessed with Tom Paladino, who developed instruments to be able to actually harness and utilize scalar energy for the betterment of all of us. Isn't that correct, Tom?
Well, that's kind of you. Yes, that's the point. Why do I do what I do? I want to see people improve their health. It's a healing ministry. So what do you do in a healing ministry? People are healed.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and I'm blessed to be one of those people. And so is my whole family, who are all having scalar sessions right now, and all, by the way, in perfect health. We all
Good.
gathered for Easter last Sunday on Zoom, and there we all were in the gallery view, and everybody, every one of us is healthy and strong and happy. So I attribute a lot of that to you, Tom, because I
Thank
know
you.
that you're working on my family. So
Thank you.
thank you. Now let's share with our viewers how they can experience a scalar energy session at
Mhm.
no cost.
Right, right. So, how do we work with people? Well, one of the wonderments of scalar energy, you can work remotely by way of a photograph. Now, frankly, I've never met Paula. She lives on the West Coast, I live on the East Coast. Paula submitted a photograph to me. All I need is a photograph of a person in order to work with that person. So a photograph, if you will, is a photographic representation, a light signature of an individual. In this case, when Paula sent me her photograph, my instrument will ascertain her coordinates, where she is. Now, that is done by way of a scalar light instrument that works like a satellite. If a satellite can send a signal to a car radio or a GPS unit or a satellite dish, my instrument working like a satellite can likewise send a signal to a person. And how do I instruct my instrument? By way of a photograph of a person. So Paula sent me a photograph. My instrument could find her, send her helpful energy, target her by way of her photograph, and she never had to leave her home. And the upshot was this instrument has the ability to break down the chemical bonds of microbes, of germs. That's how easy it was for Paula, who again did not have to visit a clinic, did not have to fly to Florida. She simply submitted a photograph.
Mm. You know, Tom, I just had an awareness because this current sessions that you're doing on me, I was having, and I don't know if I can even attribute it, so I'm asking you, I was having digestive issues before we started. And I was just thinking the other day, oh, I wonder what I'm taking that's helping because I'm not having those issues anymore. Could that be due to the pathogen cleanse?
Some people say that, yes, to carry that conversation. Some people say that after we've, uh, if you will, eradicated so many bacteria and
Mhm.
viruses and spirochetes, protozoan from the body, that their digestion improves. That, you know, one of the reasons they had dyspepsia is that the dysbiosis is the fact that they're not feeling well because of these microorganisms. So that could indeed be the case.
Wow, how fabulous. So I'm sure they're dying to know now, how can they experience these
Sure.
scalar sessions?
Well, we've built a new landing page, and you might want to write this down. The new landing page is freescalar.net, F-R-E-E scalar, S-C-A-L-A-R, freescalar.net. And we did that because of the situation around the world, and that we wanted to offer everybody in the world 30 days of free scalar light sessions, no questions asked. So tell your friends, and all you again have to do is just submit your photograph, upload a photograph to us. We'll do the rest. Again, the website freescalar.net. Anybody in the world can upload their photograph. We'll accept as many as 7 photographs of your family members. And for a course of 30 days, we will perform this germ cleanse, this pathogenic cleanse, and you will see an improvement in your health. I can guarantee you that much. You will see that scalar light, this benign light, will send a healthful wave of energy. And in so doing, we are able to improve your health by eliminating those microorganisms.
That is so beautiful and such a fabulous offer, Tom. And I really want to stress to everybody, I have done this. I am currently doing it. My family is currently doing it. And why? Just like Tom said, first of all, there's no cost for you to experience this. You know, especially at this point in time, who among us would not want to give something a try that can improve your health? And as your body is stronger, so is your immune system. And we all want to have a good, strong immune system. So, Tom, I just think this is a huge blessing. And I really love that you pointed out that for you, this is a kind of a ministry, right? You're
Yes.
doing this because it's
Yes.
your calling.
Yes.
To
It's my
try
passion. Yes.
yeah, it's your passion, right?
Yeah, this is my calling, and I believe that God is calling me to help people. And it's, again, it's so simple. It's so straightforward. It's painless. There's no side effects. There's no negative consequences. You're working with a divine light. It's God's energy. And hopefully someday soon, the world will see the benefits to be derived from this technology, and
Mhm.
they will understand that this scalar wave therapy is beneficial and it's painless. And all you need to do is send us a photograph and we do the rest. I mean, it cannot be any easier. You don't have to change your diet. You don't have to change your medication or change anything about your lifestyle.
And by the way, that's a good point. There's no problem if someone is on a medication. There's no counterindications or no
Right.
problems with that kind of thing, correct?
That's correct. Exactly. Exactly.
So no needles, no driving. You can still stay in sheltered in place. There's no painful treatment, and best of all, no huge cost
Yes.
to having this scalar session perhaps eradicate some real problematic pathogens that you may be experiencing, maybe housing. I guess we house them, don't we, Tom,
Yeah, we
right
do.
now? And we don't want that. I mean, and there are lots of them, that can cause a variety of problems. We've only talked about a few here today, but in my own experience, I can certainly say it has been life-changing, no longer having to deal with cold sores and that herpes 1 virus. And isn't it something like 3 out of 4 people on the planet have that
The,
virus?
the majority of adults in the world have herpes 1. Why? It's so simple. You can pass it easily by sharing a common drinking vessel. You can pass it easily by kissing somebody or any type of exposure from a needle. So you're right. Most of the adults in the world are suffering from herpes 1 infection. And by the way, there are now indications that herpes 1 does play a role in some neurological impairment, including Alzheimer's and Parkinson's.
Really?
Yeah, it passes the blood-brain barrier, and people with Alzheimer's, it has been cited that people with Alzheimer's, many of them have the herpes 1 virus in their brain.
Oh my goodness. Oh, thank goodness I met you, Tom Paladino. So one more time, the website that they should go to
Right,
have for free for 30 days receive the Scalar Energy Sessions
right.
is what?
Yes, the website is freescalar.net. That's spelled SCALAR, freescalar.net. Share it with your friends. You can put it on Facebook. Our goal is to heal the world, and I'm not opposed to you putting that on Facebook or Twitter. You can share it with 1,000 people. If I receive 1,000 photographs tomorrow, great, you did your job. So let's heal the world. That's the point of working with people for free.
Oh, I love that. I love that, Tom. Yes, let's heal the world. Freescalar.net. It's kind of like, what do you have to lose except all those pathogens that might be making your life miserable?
Yeah,
All right.
thank you.
Tom, bless you. Thank you all for being
Thank
with
you,
us
Paula.
here on Change It Up Radio. You can hear us in San Diego on AM 1170 and 96.1 FM on Sunday evenings at 9. And we are on every major podcast platform. So, and as Tom said, please share this show with your friends. Let's get the word out that there is something that can be done right now at no cost. All right. We look forward to being with you all next week. Tom, bless you. Thank you for being with us.
Thank you, Paula.
All right.